A Simple Lifestyle Guide. Chapter 1. The Simple Lifestyle. Simple Life Ideology. Blessed is he that expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. Benjamin Franklin. I live a simple life because I decided a long time ago, all I own is 1. My body. 2. My mind. 3. My spirit. 4. A temporary block of time. I freed myself from my capitalist, pop culture upbringing by realizing I am what I do every day. I don't care much about what I own beyond the basics for a moderately comfortable lifestyle because material things are dead junk. They can't give me orgasms, intense emotions, or make me feel euphoric about my life. I watched close relatives of mine sell their house because they were getting divorced. Then the girl put all that household stuff in a storage place. I told her that the rental costs would very quickly amount to more than the stuff is worth. She wanted to hang on to it. She never missed the stuff for a couple of years, then she abandoned it. You will be surprised at what little stuff you need in your day-to-day life. A lot of stuff in your place is basically useless stuff just sitting there. I get self-respect and a good feeling about my life from constantly purging my natural energy with some sort of intensity and urgency at times because I live by a personal standard which I must match all the time, so when I lag, as I occasionally do, I go on a tear or run of releasing energy until I get a good dose out of my system and I'm pleased with what I've done. I get euphoria from doing mostly inspired activities. I won't sacrifice time to work for material things I don't need or to try to get status within the system, which means I don't give a damn what other people think of me. I won't waste my time trying to develop some image to impress people or try to get them to think I'm a big shot, wealthy or in the upper socioeconomic class. A lot of people have been massively brainwashed to pursue materialism and constantly try to increase their status or socioeconomic position within society. This is all wasted effort. My time is way too valuable to me to spend trying to acquire the capitalist trinkets I was brainwashed by that they told me would make me happy. I had more material stuff than I needed at one time. They didn't do a damn thing for how I felt inside. On top of that, I realized my standard of life is inside of me. I answer to myself only. I don't respect most people because I think they're average, generic and brainwashed, so I could care less what these average, trivial people might think of me. Many people don't really know that happiness and success are releasing most of your natural energy every day to live in a kind of state of euphoric harmony. You always feel good because you are proud of those things you do that you consider are hard, that you conquer through inspiration and love for doing them. Hard exertion in what you love to do floods your being with euphoria and a sense of inner power. Happiness is a state of being, a state of mind. You attain happiness by being happy with what you do one day at a time. Happiness is not a fixed entity. You can't get it just because you won the lottery. Happiness is a fluid commodity. You have to earn it one day at a time, mostly by doing tough, inspired things and releasing the natural energy in your soul that you are proud of that make you feel good. Every day I live to release most of my natural energy, which is mostly inspired, hedonistic, loving and practical, but it's not materialistic. I don't need many materialistic things beyond the basics for basic comfort, and I'm not caught up in the constant desire to be passively entertained because my life is my spirit, what I do. I don't need or want to be entertained by mainstream society's pop culture junk and trinkets. Why would any wise person with an interesting, inspired life want to waste time watching a bunch of vain people all aspiring to be pop stars? Why would I want to watch a bunch of business ventures called professional sports teams play games because they pretend to have an emotional connection with the so-called fans who are really brainwashed stooges for buying into this crap? Why would I want to watch a bunch of people I don't know dance in some contest on TV? If I'm feeling good, why not dance around in my house and get that good feeling for myself by doing it, not just sit there watching somebody else do it? Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson talked about living by spirit a long time ago, but nothing much has changed. Most people are stuck somewhere between materialism, the pursuit of mundane comfort, frivolous entertainment, and image out in the world, what other people might think of them. Mainstream TV doesn't just blast ads at you. Certain TV shows and magazines are there to make you feel envious and strive to live the lifestyle they're selling. There are a lot of money and investment shows, but in my opinion the worst ones are all the fashion clothing shows and all the home buying, home makeover, home improvement type shows. Who cares? People are starving somewhere, and we have shows about people contemplating what kind of tile to buy for the splashboard of their new kitchen counter. Once you discover what's in your pure essence as a human being, you don't need any of that frivolous garbage the world is constantly trying to sell you. Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau. Ralph Waldo Emerson, 1803–1882, who wrote Self-Reliance, was an enlightened thinker living in a world of his own creation, as all highly creative people do, always contemplating life, thinking his own thoughts and pondering the deep questions of the universe. Emerson, who started out as a minister then gave up the cloth when his first wife died of tuberculosis, didn't believe much in man's institutions, be they religious, political, or educational. He believed only in the power of the individual as lived right here, right now, life in the moment. He was just like me in believing we each have a unique divine soul and the purpose of life is to obey it. For a guy who lived in those seemingly primitive times so long ago, his insights are as fresh and original as if they had been written today in these modern technologically advanced times. I personally believe that his few books easily blow away all of today's conventional psychobabble in terms of truth and inspiration. I didn't come across him until I was mostly finished with this book, but upon reading his essays, I was amazed at how the two of us independently came to many of the same conclusions about the process of life. In my opinion, he's one of the wisest men who ever lived, and he went through hell too, losing a 5-year-old son to scarlet fever shortly after losing his first wife. I'd say Emerson, Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, and Benjamin Franklin are the three giants of American freethinkers. I'd put Thoreau in there, but he never had a chance to mature. He died so young, in his mid-40s, before he could amass a wealth of material like the others. If you want one other book to help keep you inspired and give you insight beyond this one, read Self-Reliance. It amazes me how a guy living in the time before mass media had the wisdom to come up with all this wise stuff that he did. Me, I got no excuses not to, since I'm pounded with a couple of hundred ideas every day. It's very easy to pick out what I want from everything that's out there. Emerson created all his stuff out of thin air from his own mind. According to Emerson, all organizations lead to the mechanization of thought, particularly academia. He believed your soul and power are already within you when you're born. An authentic life and authentic education is to simply let it unfold freely by exploring your creative thoughts and whims. Truly creative people develop the inner discipline within to try to live great, cultured lives. They don't have to be molded any which way whatsoever. Henry David Thoreau, 1817–1862, had similar views to Ralph Waldo Emerson. In fact, Emerson let Thoreau stay at his house for a while in exchange for maintenance and gardening work. Look for their books at around number 814 or PS 1603 at the library. Emerson's famous book is Self-Reliance, and to a lesser extent, Essays. Thoreau's great book is Walden, two very similar books about the beauty and simplicity of living close to nature. This is the basis on which all great thinkers live their lives. This is the frontier and the greatest lifestyle, living freely by your own thoughts, generating your keep this way and enjoying the journey along the way by exploring your whims and passions. killdevilhill.com/waldenpondchat/www.board.html, Henry David Thoreau. state.ma.us/dem/parks/wooden.htm, Golden Pond, where Henry David Thoreau lived. umsa.umd.edu, Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau. To laugh often and much. To win the respect of intelligent people. And the affection of children. To earn the appreciation of honest critics. And endure the betrayal of false friends. To appreciate beauty. To find the best in others. To leave the world a bit better. Whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier. Because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. Ralph Waldo Emerson, 1803 to 1882. That man is richest whose pleasures are cheapest. Ralph Waldo Emerson. No facts are sacred, none are profane, I simply experiment, an endless seeker, with no past at my back. Ralph Waldo Emerson, 1803 to 1882. If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music that he hears, however measured or far away. Henry David Thoreau, 1817 to 1862. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. Henry David Thoreau, 1817 to 1862. Renew yourself completely each day, do it again and forever again. Henry David Thoreau, Walden. If the day and night are such that you greet them with joy and life emits a fragrance like flowers and sweat-scented herbs, if life feels starry and immortal, that is success. Henry David Thoreau, 1817 to 1862. Simple Life Ideas 1. If you watch money TV and hang out with people who buy into the lie of making it to the top in a capitalist world and measure their worth or happiness by how big their house is, how much expensive home decor there is in there and how much other stuff they own, you've been sucked into that lifestyle. It's a kind of work-hard lifestyle, not necessarily because you love what you do but because you want the status of other people recognizing you and you want a lot of material stuff to either impress yourself or impress others. Personally, I want to own only the material basics for two reasons. It keeps my life simple. I don't want to pursue frivolous goods while I'm perfectly aware that there are millions of people out there starving. It smacks of disharmony to me, a sin against our fellow men and the spirit of being a good human being. Without being arrogant, I believe my life is superior to just about everybody because I have no delusions. I know that all I own is a finite block of time. Material things beyond the basics can't make me happy. I've been there, done that. If I have what I need, that's enough, but I think the biggest thing is that I am what I do, not what I own. Don't be brainwashed by all the knuckleheads out there. Either have few needs and / or find what you truly love to do to earn your money. Go as simple as you can. Sell all your investments, all the extraneous crap you own that you rarely use or don't need, like jewelry, your boat, RV. Try selling it on eBay.com. Simple Life Ideas 2. The Lord helps those who help themselves. Spend less than you make. Don't take financial advice from salespeople in the financial services industry unless it's for a straight fee without a commission for sales. Ultimately, they are trying to sell you something. When you watch a financial journalist on TV or read a money article, ask yourself if you think he or she is being objective, or are they biased, perhaps because they have an interest in the investment they're reporting on. Ignorance, greed, and stupidity lose more money in the stock market than fraud. Generally, the rich get richer because they use their money to make more money in investments and real estate. Try to save some money and invest it in some way. If one of your close intimates, friends, or relatives is always using you for material things, they're insincere. I would cut my losses and cut them out of my life. Just because they're your relatives doesn't give them the right to abuse your good nature. Don't trust anyone when it comes to money, not friends, not stockbrokers, not lawyers, not anyone. Don't co-sign a loan for anyone unless you plan to pay it off. Once you go through a crisis where you have no money, no job, and no business and are near homeless, you realize what's real in life, which is enough money to always have a roof over your head. Unless you're extremely wealthy, save your money intelligently even if you have plenty right now, because there will be a tragedy or unforeseen event at some point in your life where you will need more money. At the very least, you will want it at retirement. Make your money work for you through intelligent investments. Loyalties can be fleeting, especially in the business world. When good people go through hard times, it gets easy for them to justify to themselves stealing from you and betraying you. Don't trust company pension plans. Many go bust. Trust your own retirement savings account. If it's a 401(k), where your employer matches your contributions, that's great for you. Don't keep all your money in one place. Diversify. Don't assume anything. Get it clarified. The stock market goes up because of greed, down because of fear. This is why smart people don't waste time in the market. They do their own thing and make money through some kind of business they run. If you want to get rich, your best chances are through running a business over working a job. Nobody knows the future. Do your best now by preparing for it through taking care of your health and wealth. Invest in rental real estate, preferably duplexes. Don't spend money on stupid, useless things. Don't be a fan of pop culture entertainment. Focus on your own well-being instead of just distracting yourself with mindless entertainment. Besides a mortgage, do not get into debt. If you work, start a side business. Love what you do to earn a living. Live to enjoy your life. Money doesn't make you rich, an inspired life does. Teach yourself about money. It's all in my money book and at number 332 at the library. Simple Life Ideas 3. In my opinion, we have a culture based on I want it all, I want it now, pop song titled by Queen, where many young people have pop culture stars in their eyes. They want to be American Idols, win a reality TV show or something like that. They don't seem to realize that in the grand scheme of things, the world needs another snotty brat or young punk singing a song like it needs a hole in the head. I'm no fan of pop culture entertainment because I think it's a bunch of crap that has turned the brains of much of our population into mush. I suppose it's no different from the ancient Roman days. A large segment of the population had nothing better to do with their lives back then either but eat bread and watch circuses, the unwashed masses as some people call them, the stupid plebeians who follow the so-called trends, aka what's happening all in an effort to be cool because they're too dull to try to do something real and original with their own lives. My life is all about me and I believe wise people should focus on themselves. When you focus on yourself, you realize that you get what you want by helping others get what they want, so you work like a madman to help others get what they want so that you can get what you want. This is the law of the marketplace. The reason I'm so down on pop culture entertainment is because it robs weak, stupid, and naive people of the quiet time to focus on their own lives and aspire to do something positive for themselves and for the world. It fills them up with all kinds of silly crap about being cool and spending their money on useless things. In the old days, there was no quick way to get rich. Everybody earned their living one day at a time. Nowadays, fully 98% of the population still earns their living working one day at a time. There will be no motherlode or big score. They won't have a hit song. Chances are they won't create a company that will take off immediately. There will be no multi-million-dollar real estate deal, a big poker win or a winning lottery ticket. For most people, they earn their bread one day at a time. Because of this, get real about your life. Get a steady job or plan out a business you think will be profitable. Do it steady day after day. If you work, you can get a pension for life after 20 years or so, but many companies are phasing out pensions in favor of matching contributions to retirement savings plans. As dull as it sounds, you start to get rich or at least get economic security the minute you grow up. Realize that all the stuff you were brainwashed by about being cool and trendy is a clever marketing ploy to sell suckers consumer goods, thus robbing them of their hard-earned money. For me, this happened at about the age of 24 when I realized it was preposterous to pay $15 or more for records/CDs that I hardly ever listened to just because I wanted others to think I was a cool guy when they came over to my house and maybe to impress some chicks with my cool record collection. That's the first step. Get over pop culture consumerism. If and when you realize that most people are too self-centered to give a damn as to whether the clothes you're wearing are brand name or generic because they're too busy thinking about the most important thing to them, which is them, then that will be the beginning of a wiser, more mature you. You don't really need much. Home decor is another bunch of brainwashing crap they try to get the bored, empty, stupid, trivial, dumb, unenlightened, uninspired masses hooked on. Save your money, then when you get enough for a down payment on a small house and qualify for a mortgage, buy your first one. Keep saving your money in conservative investments. Fix up your little house a bit. Look around for a cheap duplex or put a basement apartment in your house. Do it like this, little by little. Buy a few rental properties that you rent out to good tenants. Don't spend frivolously. Save what you don't need. Live a good but sensible life. You must be a somewhat sensible person because you're reading this book. You're doing the most basic step, educating yourself about money. If you want more, I'm sure there are at least 1,000 money websites in this book and many books at number 332 or HG4500 at the library. Educate yourself enough to learn the basic investments, then invest your money in safe, conservative stocks or anywhere else you deem prudent. Get into a steady profession or business and do them day by day. Read my jobs and business books. Buy things for function and comfort, not for trendiness or frivolity. Be frugal around the house. Don't leave lights on. Use solar energy, etc. Don't invest in risky ventures. Keep it safe and conservative. Buy stocks you know, the brand name companies of products you yourself use all the time, like Coca-Cola, American Express, Microsoft, Sony. Buy stocks of companies that are leaders in their field that have a strong track record. Diversify into at least 5 different stocks and different sectors. After you pick your stocks, hold. Don't look at them for several years. Don't listen to the talking heads on Money TV much because most are pushing the stocks their brokerage houses are underwriting. Even the full-time journalists sometimes hype stocks that they own. It's human nature to do so even when you know you're lying. Don't get on any investment bandwagon. The bubble will burst. Stock investing can be fun if you have a friend or two who like to talk about the stock market. Constantly think about your long-term future. Prepare for your later years by always saving money. Learn taxes to minimize how much you pay. Use every retirement savings plan you can to the max. Be a good, educated consumer. Why buy a new car when you can get a good used one? Don't marry someone who is not practical and serious-minded about the things that matter, like money. Don't marry a person who bases their feelings of goodness on how much money they've spent at the mall lately. Never buy real jewelry. Fake jewelry is fine. If you're a woman, don't ignore money and leave it to your husband. Learn about it yourself for yourself. Try not to divorce. Don't have more kids than you can handle financially. Don't have kids if you don't really like the process of raising them. Don't have expensive tastes. Most of the things I like to do are cheap, like bike riding and swimming. Study the big life events before you pay for them: college education, marriage, funeral, birth of child, raising children. Don't waste the valuable time of your life on investments. Buy and hold. Don't count on getting rich through the stock market. Count on earning your money day by day through your profession, then putting some away in a few basic investments and living your life rather than wasting it watching the talking yokels on the daily finance programs. If you're really young, consider the military, both for the GI Bill for college education and to stay 20 years and get out with a pension at around the age of 40. It's not bad to have a pension for the rest of your life at that age. Get rich by being good at your profession or business, then saving some of what you earn by investing, but don't get caught in the stock market. Be an action person. Do inspired things with your life. Go to church or interact with positive, basic, inspired, down-to-earth practical people like yourself. Don't associate with big mouths, trendy people or people hooked on material things. They will pollute you or at least make your life miserable. Why buy a cottage when you can buy a used RV and camp at a park for the few weeks a year you go traveling? Don't waste money on the overpriced trendy crap. I will never own anything with a Nike logo on it. It costs double what the generic stuff costs. I will never drink a Starbucks coffee unless someone buys one for me. I don't care how chic it's supposed to be with the yuppies. I usually make my own coffee at home, but if I'm buying, I go to a 7-Eleven type store. Their coffee is fine. Take care of your health now. It might save you from a serious disease later on. You could be like me and live an interesting bohemian lifestyle that eventually netted me the lifestyle of a starving artist, even though I was cool about it because owning my free time to do with as I pleased in my pursuit of an inspired lifestyle was more important than working a regular job just for the money. I didn't mind living in the ghetto as long as I had a roof over my head, but it's still no fun to know you could be homeless someday if you're not smart about it. That's why I wrote this book, because I finally woke up and realized what reality is. It's having a comfortable roof over your head every single day of your life without worrying about it. I've seen a lot of my acquaintances get depressed and go off the deep end after they lost jobs, got divorced, got injured, hooked on drugs, etc. Some went homeless for a while. Get a roof over your head that you own straight up. Everything beyond that is gravy. Simple life ideas 4. Realize that without money, you're screwed, but beyond the basics, you don't really need all that much. Determine what you want out of life. Make a plan. Day-to-day living always costs more than you think it will. You need dental treatment, your car breaks down, you get a traffic ticket, etc. Don't base happiness on material excess. It's wrong for the spirit of your life. There are needs and wants. Buy the needs. Go easy on the wants. Don't buy into all that consumeristic crap out there that has people spending money and time on home improvements and home decor all the time. 100 years ago, people lived in little shacks. Now they're so neurotic about having these silly picture-perfect houses. Get a life. Know what you're worth. Put down your assets versus liabilities on paper. I personally don't believe in being a tight ass and writing out a complete budget. Just know roughly what your finances are all about. Figure out what you spend. Keep a spending diary if you want. If you need to be frugal, look at what you can cut out, generally fast food, clothing, transportation, impulse buying and luxury, leisure items. Don't allow yourself to be brainwashed by pop culture and advertising. If you need money, start a part-time business or get a second job. Go easy on using credit. You end up paying a lot of interest money out. Pay off all your debt. Live within your means. Use coupons. If you have 2 cars, sell one. Be a saver, not a spender. Take your time before you buy expensive items. Know the risks of investments. Don't risk it if you can't afford to lose it. Compounding interest over time through savings is the way to make money. Put money away in a retirement savings plan at work. Saving money is the art of doing with $1 what any other fool can do with 2. Buy what you need and don't go overboard. Economy is the art of making the most out of life. Prepare for the worst. I won't get into a patronizing harangue about budgeting and all that boring stuff except to say no matter what, whatever age you're at, pay yourself first and put away what you can for the future. The years fly by. Things happen, bills pile up, then more than half of all Americans at retirement age have a big fat zero and sit back thinking they should listen to everybody way back then and saved their money. Simple life ideas 5. Investing in the stock market is not rocket science. You can learn very quickly, then make more money than in a paltry bank CD at 5%, and it's reasonably safe, maintenance-free, and mindless. The risky stuff is the options, futures, and over-the-counter stocks. Just stay away from them and stick with companies that have been supplying this country and the world for years. In the long run, the stock market will always go up because the world population is always increasing and people need goods. The second rule of saving money is waste. Take a look at what you waste: the food, the clothes, even throwing away paper that you could have written on the other side of. I know one guy with a wood stove who makes it a point to send away for junk mail which he uses to heat his home. Don't throw something away until you at least try to fix it or use the parts for something else. Whenever something breaks down, take a look at it yourself for basic problems, and secondly, perhaps buy a book or get one at the library in the number 640, 643 and 680 to 699 sections that might help you fix it. If you need an expert, before you call the repair shop, First, try calling a local vocational school and ask if they have a repair program for appliances, or ask if you could hire a student to come look at your appliance. Barring that, it's a good idea to try to network and develop acquaintances who will do your plumbing, electrical, etc. on the side for either a fee or an exchange of your services. If you need to go to a repair shop, try for a factory authorized representative. Some people say that getting an appliance fixed at the dealer where they sell them is more expensive than at a small, independent repair shop. It's your call. Get free estimates from both. Check the newspaper for ads for repairmen who operate out of their homes and offer cheaper prices than the guys from companies. I found an electrician for $10 an hour, a lot cheaper than the usual $25. Consider ecological measures to save and make money. Save your containers to make a few cents when you bring them back, but it's also a good thing to do for the world. Refrain from buying disposables as much as possible, not only to save money but for the ecology. Toilet paper and maybe disposable diapers are the only disposables that are really necessary. Some people still use cloth diapers. One woman claims to have saved $1,000 a year using them. Just rinse them out and throw them in the washer. Other things like paper towels and plastic cups are downright wasteful. If you're planning to get into the saving money lifestyle, you should sit your family down, talk about it and get them involved. You don't have to live a Spartan life. Just don't waste money, buy the essentials and put some away. Focus and save as much as you can for a while, then enjoy the dividends from your investments. Don't live in that naive fantasy world I once lived in with no real clue about money until I crashed and burned and had to learn real quick in order to keep a roof over my head. Unless you're a corporate bigwig, drop all club memberships like golf, boat, or racket club. Instead of working out at the gym, buy some used fitness equipment and work out at home. There are plenty of people who have bought exercise equipment in a moment of willpower and never use it after the first month. I bought a $2,000 Stairmaster for $300 by putting a free ad in a local buy and sell paper saying I wanted to buy a Stairmaster cheap. Generally, living in the country is much cheaper than the city with respect to overall property values and property taxes. If you don't have to work in the city, this would probably be a big way to save money. The small country supermarket may be a bit more expensive than the city, so you'd just have to take a monthly drive to the city to do your shopping and your other tasks and you're all set. Some people choose to get assistance from the government. Some of the programs are welfare, food stamps, rent subsidies, low-cost housing, mortgage assistance, unemployment, Social Security, Medicaid, child care, Head Start, Job Corps, and the list goes on. You can probably get some of these easily like food stamps, but others are much harder like the housing programs offered by HUD. It may not be worth the time and effort for what you get and the loss of dignity involved. Make things last. Use common care with your appliances and other possessions. Do the required maintenance. Clean them every once in a while. Don't be self-conscious about old possessions. Some people sabotage themselves by treating their older possessions badly, subconsciously hoping that they break so that they can buy new ones. If you're retired or in a position to move, consider the southern states where the cost of living is generally lower, you pay less on heating costs, winter clothes, wear and tear on your car, fruits and vegetables are cheaper, and it's just overall more pleasant. Stay away from the big cities. The mid-sized ones are generally the best deals with enough variety and competition to keep prices down on everything from real estate to food. You don't need TV guide. You can get the TV schedule either in a pull-out feature of the weekend newspaper, or some companies publish free weekly TV schedule tabloids which you can get at supermarkets and other places. Look at holidays and celebrations as times for personal connections and times of bonding rather than expensive decor and presents. Plan for good home-baked foods and activities together like doing things, singing songs, and visiting people. Cut down on gift giving. Buy functional gifts. Use rechargeable batteries. Don't buy video games. Use an artificial Christmas tree. Make your own wreaths. Don't spend a fortune on decor. Save wrapping paper from your gifts to reuse. Buy stuff at the after Christmas sales. This works for birthday parties for the kids. Find a good game book at the library, number 790-795, and set up some inexpensive games. Prizes can be things like homemade candies, taffy apples, and caramel corn. Call around to McDonald's and Burger King and ask if they have free birthday parties for children. Some low-cost recreational activities are hiking, camping, canoeing, boating without a motor, bicycling, sledding, skating on a lake, swimming at the lake, reading, camping, singing in a group, dancing, bowling, walking, going to the park, cross-country skiing, picnics, stargazing, crafts activities, continuing education courses, exercising, pen pal club, zoo club member, jigsaw puzzles, painting and playing board games or games like Trivial Pursuit and 20 Questions. An activity for the kids is paper mache to make things, for example, blow up a balloon, mix some flour and water in a dish, put strips of newspaper into it and stick them on the balloon. Wait a day until they dry, paint it, cut out the eyes and you got a mask. If you happen to see a useful piece of garbage as you're driving around, like a discarded rolled up piece of carpet, don't be afraid to stop, pick it up and throw it in your trunk. Mouthwashes work very briefly. Bad breath is caused by either decaying food lodged in your teeth, plaque in your mouth and the food you eat like garlic going from your bloodstream into your lungs. The easiest way to battle bad breath is to get a little teaspoon and use it to scrape your mouth and tongue several times a day, then rinse. A hairdryer wastes time and electricity, not to mention it's frivolous. Get rid of it. You don't need that electric knife or an electric can opener. Most people that buy toasters and broiler ovens rarely use them. Go through the house and get rid of extraneous junk. Consider a good old-fashioned bike for short trips around the neighborhood instead of driving the car all the time. Go to the supermarket, buy a bag of groceries, put them in your knapsack, go to the library, to school, work, etc. People routinely forget about investments or die and they go to the state government lost assets office where they could get lost for good, so always write things down and keep a record when you invest some money. The best way to make money is to find an alternative job on the side or turn something you like to do like a hobby into a second income. Sit down some evening and actually write out a life plan on paper, what you want to do with the rest of your life. Where do you see yourself in the golden years? Don't waste money during the younger years that you could easily put away to collect good interest. Instead of that $10,000 speedboat, take the family for a boat charter and camping trip every year and put the rest of the money away. I think boating is the biggest waste of money around for most people because they rarely use them, and then there's the suckers who join a boat club and pay every month to store their boat. They probably use it maybe a dozen times a year at best. I personally can't stand being cooped up on a boat. Debt grows like wildfire, so instead of taking that dream trip on credit cards and then paying 19% compounded interest, why not save for a year or so, collect some interest on your savings and then take the trip. Cut corners for everything, like instead of buying that new car, buy a used car. Instead of a 3-bedroom house with a big yard, try a smaller house. Keep money in the bank for emergencies, meaning don't invest it all in time deposits. Mutual funds are good liquid investments. Switch from a bank to a credit union. Whatever you invest in, don't put it all in one place. Learn a little and spread it around a bit. Most magazines are 50% advertising. See them at the library for free. Some of the so-called budget recipes/ideas in women's magazines end up costing more than they're worth. The freedom to do what you want includes financial security. Financial security comes down to saving money so that it builds up in interest over time. Save your money and do it in safe investments, not stocks. Your goal is financial security, to own your house and your car free and clear and have some cash on hand. If you owe money, pay it off. Get rid of all credit cards except for 1 or 2. Simple Life Ideas 6. What do you value most? What can you do without? There are 3 great commandments of wise, practical living. Live within your means, not above them. Don't look for happiness through material goods. Don't lie to yourself about money. Be on the ball about what you're worth, what you spend and what you owe. Simple is smart because it frees you up from society's bullshit to do what you really want to do without worrying about the ideology of more is good or socio-economic status. If you want more, try number 332 or HG179 at the library. Buy a used car in cash over a new one with monthly payments. Discover what you really like to do away from what society brainwashed you to like. Focus on that. Try to develop a skill that's always in demand like plumbing, electrical wiring, website design, virtual office services, etc. Don't have a two-car couple. Do it with one vehicle unless you're a farmer and your trucks are a part of your trade. Houses that need a bit of work often go very cheap. Buy a fixer-upper. Most well-off people did it by saving a bit every year. Get rich quick is usually bull, especially if you're buying an idea from a money-making ad. It's possible you'll become a pop star and sell 10,000,000 CDs or invent something like an iPod, but not likely. If you have hope, read my money-making, job and business books. When you sell your house, try for sale by owner over hiring a real estate agent first to avoid paying the commission. If you play the lottery, you probably won't win the big score. At one time I owned a motorboat, a snowmobile, a canoe, and all kinds of other stuff I bought because I thought this is what up-and-coming yuppies do. Then when I smartened up and realized what I really like to do, all I needed was a bike because I like to bike for a few hours at a time. Happiness is not the result of material goods. What do you possibly need to be entertained? My entertainment comes from physical and creative intellectual activities. They cost very little. Buy the basics, not frivolous or luxury stuff. Don't shop recreationally. Don't shop at corner stores. Buy most of your food at the supermarket. Nobody needs more than 5 pair of shoes. Don't buy food at drive-thrus. Pay your bills on time. Do some things for yourself: cleaning, cooking, home improvements, landscaping, etc. Before you buy something expensive, research it. Buy in cash, not on credit. There are true needs and discretionary expenses. You don't need much. Live cheaper. Can you live in a cheaper house, drive a cheaper car, etc.? Simple Life Ideas 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. Psalms 19:7. When you don't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. Bob Dylan. What you don't spend, you don't have to waste time in the workforce earning. That Bob Dylan quote makes a lot of sense. We've all been so brainwashed to work our butts off for our future security that the stress and the hard work kills us. I own very little. This is the way I want it because I lived through a materialistic stage that left me empty, so I went to the exact opposite side. I now live for spirit and only own what I need. I don't even want to mow lawns, which is why my lawn is as teensy as possible. I disposed of a lot of my material things about 15 years ago. I just got over it. I realized it was a bill of goods being sold to me by the system. I now live a reasonably simple, uncluttered life. I buy what I need and don't bother with trivial leisure goods because I'm wise enough to know that they do nothing for my intrinsic happiness. I have no pride about status, nor do I want to keep up with the Joneses. The simple life frees you to spend time on doing what you enjoy or do nothing if you so desire, which is my definition of peace. If you don't have email, you don't have to waste your time looking through all those junk email ads. You spend most of your time in one spot in the house sitting down watching TV. Most of the other rooms don't get used. If you don't have a big house, you don't have to waste time cleaning it, remodeling it, buying furniture for it, paying high taxes on it, mowing your big lawn, and the list goes on. Realize that the simple life materially is the best way to be and live it. The simple life is more philosophical, peaceful, balanced, slower, intimate and cozy than the materialistic, cheap thrill lifestyle. The heroes of the simple lifestyle in my view are Henry David Thoreau, who lays out his philosophy in his book Walden, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who wrote Self-Reliance, and Daniel Boone, the true pioneer who did for himself all of his life right to the bitter end, moving out of Carolina and into Tennessee at the age of 72 to build a new house for himself and start all over again because he wanted his own peace uncluttered by encroaching civilization. Some of Henry David Thoreau's thoughts are as follows. I am sure that I have never read any memorable news in a newspaper. To a philosopher all news, as it is called, is gossip, and they who edit and read it are old women over their tea. Yet not a few are greedy after this gossip. Instead of studying how to make it worth men's while to buy my baskets, I studied rather how to avoid the necessity of selling them. Our life is frittered away by detail. An honest man has hardly need to count more than his 10 fingers, or in extreme cases, he may add his 10 toes and lump the rest. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. Don't spend more than you earn. Do without. Happiness is in your head and in your heart, not in consumer goods or the shopping addiction. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses for status' sake. My point in all of this is not to come off like a flaming sap and naively tell you to give it all up in search for higher enlightenment, rather, I'm just telling you to get some real perspective in your life. You go out and spend $100 for those cutsy boots that do nothing for how you feel inside, so you keep filling up your closet, then you worry because you're in debt. Meanwhile 60% of the world's population is sick and hungry, worrying about where their next meal is coming from, while you stuff your face with a treat from some junk food place and then buy some useless weight loss product and some overhyped exercise machine, and you think you got problems. Need is a relative concept. Your happiness comes from within, in your soul. A slower-paced lifestyle where you do things for yourself is better for your health and mental well-being. Simple living is not an end itself, it's merely a means which frees you up to do other things like really enjoy your life. Make it a point to live simpler, happier, more wholesome lives and get rid of some of the material things. Ask yourself what you really want out of life, devoid of all the extraneous bull pushing at you to be a certain way. Share things with other people to save money. Share a house together if you have to. Share a car, telephone, washer and dryer, etc. Share chores and other things with neighbors and friends, like you babysit for them, they babysit for you. Simple Life Ideas 8. Even though it's a boring subject, educate yourself about money. Read this book, then fill in the gaps at number 332 at the library. If you don't have enough money, develop fewer needs and or get another job or work more hours at your present one. The simple life philosophy is clearly demonstrated by the story of a buddy of mine who was diagnosed with prostate cancer at the age of 49 after a life of hard work which yielded him a big mansion. He sat in his big house, which was more than 3 families could comfortably live in, and finally realized the truth of it all, that he could have had a lot more fun working a lot less and would have been happier with a small, 3-bedroom house in the country, putting around in a little garden out back. He had worked all his life chasing his illusion of the American dream, the big house, always pushing harder because in his mind, he was always thinking that he needed a bigger swimming pool, another status toy, and it never stopped until he got the cancer and had to confront reality. It took a serious disease to bring him down to earth, back to reality. So why don't you do some soul searching about your materialistic lifestyle? The moral to the story is live a simple life for health and happiness. People who are poor, middle class or even rich materially are often not happy because their problem is not material or exclusively material in the case of poor people. It's a meld of spirituality, hedonism, the ability to enjoy life, peace of mind and inspiration. We have all been conditioned to think that money equals happiness when it doesn't. Money up to about $50,000 a year will relieve us of the burdens of worrying about it, but beyond that, money will not enhance your life all that much, and even with an income of $50,000 or more a year, you're not guaranteed happiness, only material comfort. Some of the wealthiest people around can buy all the cheap thrills they want, but they are not happy. Money is good up to that point of $50,000 to give you a materially comfortable standard of living, but if you want happiness, you have to discover your true nature and build an inspired, sensual, loving lifestyle around it. In general, it's cheaper or less expensive to live in small towns and in the country rather than in bigger cities. The demands of status aren't there. Things cost less. Houses cost less. Property taxes are much less. You do things for yourself. There is less pressure to keep up with the Joneses. The lifestyle is different, generally more relaxed. This low-stress environment could save your life or at least add a few years to it. Develop a philosophy of buying only what you need. Personally, I don't do recreational shopping. If I need something like my most recent purchase, a keyboard, I walk into the mall, go to the exact store that sells the product I want, buy it then leave the mall. Most people are not like this. They have incorporated recreational shopping into their lifestyles because they have been brainwashed by corporate advertising and pop culture to think that it's cool to go shopping, that the mall is a cool, fun, happening place to be. If this is you, you must have a pretty dull life to do this at the expense of other, more interesting soulful activities. When you go recreational shopping and you see a product or article of clothing you like, think about it 6 months from now. Will it be on a junk pile in your house taking up room, or will you actually be using it? A basic psychology of sales is the status pitch, not just the pitch that if you buy a $80,000 Mercedes, everybody will be looking at you as a cool, smashing, financial success, but the more subtle, insidious kind, the kind telling you to go ahead and buy these expensive things because, as they like to say, you're worth it, implying that you deserve a break today because you're such a fascinating, cool person, when in fact what you are is a sucker for being into this line. The other one is the subtle implication that you don't measure up or are inferior if you don't buy the expensive stuff. I called a company up about getting dial-up internet service, and right away, the guy tried to make me feel like a low-class buffoon because I was not ordering DSL, which cost double for basically the same service, only faster. I didn't think it was worth it for the few times a week I use the internet. Salespeople do this all the time. They indirectly try to shame or embarrass you into buying the more expensive option, or simply buying when you're indecisive about it. They know that people are afraid to admit they can't afford something because this implies that you're a failure in life. It's cooler to act like you're doing fine in the world with money to spend, so they try to reel you in by saying everybody or all the cool people are now buying this product, implying that you're cool too, so you want to keep up your image to this salesperson and to yourself at the same time, so you buy against your better judgments and the sales guy doesn't even remember you a week later. This is why I know exactly what I want. I often phone the stores before I go, I buy it and that's it. When there is something you want to buy, ask yourself, do I really need it? Can I do without? Where will it be in 6 months, being used or on the junk pile in the basement? If there's something reasonably expensive I want, I always check the local ads newspaper, bargainhunterpress.com. I've bought everything from cars to computers to TVs here. Incidentally, I believe that every city or region needs one newspaper that covers ads for used goods. This would be a good business opportunity if your area doesn't have one. Consumer mentality is the desire to spend everything you earn and then some with credit cards. Develop a saving/investing mentality instead. Put away what you don't need so that it accumulates interest. A related concept is the clutter mentality. One time when I was a young, brainwashed yuppie, I thought it was cool to build up a house full of furniture with all kinds of home decor stuff, but then when I went through my awakening and got rid of all this stuff, I simply owned what I needed and have no clutter. I even get rid of books after I finish reading them by donating them to the library, because it all comes down to my philosophy of owning a minimal amount of material goods in order to keep my life simple and basic. But most people in capitalist society are the exact opposite of this. Because they paid money for it at some point in time, even though it's broken or they'll never use it again, they keep it. All this useless stuff sitting in your garage or basement encourages this materialistic lifestyle. I say give it away or have a trivial little flea market if you want. Think of life as 2 dimensions, time at work versus your freedom to live a good quality of life. Instead of working more, acquire fewer needs. If you only use it a few times a year, why bother? I've known friends with summer cottages or expensive boats, which was the difference between them working their butts off to them living a stress-free life working just regular hours. Summer cottages almost always get burglarized at some point in time. Another thing about the big house and big toys are constant maintenance. There is a lake about half a mile away from where I live which I swim in every summer while pay thousands for a dinky swimming pool that they have to clean all the time. The same goes for a big house or a big boat, constant maintenance. My life is in my head, not what surrounds me. Some people are so stupid, like some apartment dwellers, that they acquire a bunch of stuff then rent a storage unit at $50 a month to put all this stuff in, and after a year of rental, it cost you more for storage than what it's worth. If you have a motorbike, ski-doo, boat or jet ski that you only use several times a year, why bother with the costs of storage? Get rid of it. Do something else. When a new product comes out like VCRs in the late 1970s or DVD recordable players now, wait a few years until either the price goes down or you can buy a used one. When you're buying a product, don't necessarily go for the bottom of the line cheapest. Look for one that has a little more quality, kinda like the lower middle end price. I'm not suggesting that a higher price equals higher quality, but often, the lower end stuff is very low quality. There are some items like machinery to do jobs around the house, cement mixer, pump, hole digger, etc., that you might use once in a blue moon. Either buy one used or rent it from a rental store. When you buy equipment like a car, lawnmower, or furnace, follow all the maintenance instructions, don't abuse it, and if it breaks down, try to fix it yourself or get someone to fix it. Car books are at number 629 at the library. There are repair manuals for gadgets at the library and on the internet. Oftentimes, the problem is something simple. Buy products at flea markets, garage sales, thrift stores, Goodwill, Salvation Army, bargain hunter newspapers, surplus stores, big department stores, dollar stores, wholesalers, big discount stores, Sam's, the cheapest supermarket in the low-class part of the town, and the cheapest and best mail-order dealers you can find around. There are some good deals in mail order, catalog and internet shopping. The library, local church, local social club, computer, free software, shareware/freeware, and free or low-cost internet, radio, shortwave radio, and free TV are the cheapest forms of entertainment. Don't be above picking something out of the trash if you see it when you drive, bike or walk by. One guy does this as his hobby, drive around on trash day looking through the trash. He's called the cheapest guy in the world and does or did have a radio show on frugal living. Look for all the conservation features for everything from shower heads to toilets to air conditioning and heating. Use email. Hook up an internet telephone on your computer. Simple Life Ideas 9. A lot of preachers develop sermons around money and wealth, and some even go on tour, promoting a set of tapes on how to be wealthy or how to live well even if you're materially poor. One such preacher came to my locale and gave an afternoon seminar. The following are the main points I gleaned from him. Believe in God. Keep your religious faith strong. Keep the family strong. Help each other. Help the church, help others regardless of how poor you are. Don't take the low road. Keep your moral standards high. Don't steal or cheat. Don't gamble. Don't use drugs or alcohol. They just bring you down. Pay back all your debts, then never borrow again unless it's for a mortgage. Drive an old clunker if you must in order to avoid debt. Live modestly. There are needs and desires. Focus on your needs and the occasional desire or two as a reward to keep yourself motivated. Keep your self-respect by always going out in public neat and clean. Don't let yourself go. Save as much money as you can. Make your car, tools, and gadgets last by taking care of them and fixing them when they break down. Don't be frivolous or wasteful. This is not only sensible, but it keeps you in line with the harmony of the universe as advanced by enlightened people like the original native Indians, who take what they need and leave the rest, which goes against our capitalist consumeristic society which wants us to work, eat, consume, and spend incessantly so everybody can make money, then try to get happy by spending it. Be focused in your life. Know what you want in both the material and spiritual realms and stick with your plan without succumbing to the superficial distractions of the world. The biggest trap most people get into in our society is that as they climb the ladder of success at work, feel as though they have arrived and spend money on useless, trivial things that they don't really need. True prosperity is getting what you need to live for peace of mind and happiness. The externals won't do it. Happiness only comes from within the soul. In the old days 100 or so years ago, people had to do a lot for themselves mostly by hand. They were closer to nature, God, and to their inner thoughts since they had nothing to distract them like TV or radio. Capitalism had not yet sunk its teeth into the carnal nature of the beast, but when it did, it succeeded in creating a world of insatiable consumers who always want more, more, more. You can enjoy your life without spending lots of money, just know where to look. At one place, tennis lessons might cost a mint, but you will probably get away cheap or free at the YMCA. Buy things at flea markets, thrift stores, etc. These little things add up, especially after my buddy told me he shelled out $200 up front for tennis lessons with $30 a pop for each half hour. Movies cost almost $10 at the theater. There's nothing in the world that's worth it to me to pay $10 to see in the way of movies with all the free entertainment on TV. Think long and hard and get rid of the liabilities or the things that cost more than the value that you get out of them. For instance, my father once had a summer cottage which was fun and fine for a while, but we grew up, didn't go there much, and it got kinda boring, so he sold it and we just started going on trips for the weekends. We'd go to different campgrounds and state parks, and we had just as much fun, if not more, meeting different people and doing different things than we had at our cottage. And there are other things like the big RV or the big boat that you use 2 weeks a year, if that. It's not the big boat that counts, it's really going out and doing something with your family, like having a picnic or going out for a drive together. You can always rent a boat or an RV or go out on a fishing charter for a couple bucks those few times a year. If you have kids, you really don't have to buy anything new until they're at least 5 years old. Thrift stores and garage sales are full of baby clothes, toys, etc., unless you're too proud for that kinda stuff. The easiest way to save money is to trim/simplify, move down a notch in your perceived standard of living below your means, conserve, and don't be a slave to materialism. Possessions can cause more problems than they're worth. Think like a Buddhist, don't own more than you can carry. Although I own a few material things, I think like a Buddhist, and it keeps me free from this trivial, materialistic world. I can fit everything I own into a van. I don't view life as dollars and cents and whether I'm up or down money-wise. The Buddhists say that attachment is the root of all human suffering. Think about it. We're conditioned to think that spending money on the so-called luxuries equates to a happier lifestyle, but the fact is that for most of us, money is not a guarantee for happiness. It's a spiritual test of character and should only be used as a tool to do things that really matter. We all have a comfort level that gives us that warm, fuzzy feeling that no matter what, everything's alright in our own little private world, but I say, how far could you go if you really had to? For half my life, I lived in cheap little dive apartments with a hot plate and sometimes even without hot water or a shower. Big deal. I was still better off than 90% of the world's population, not to mention the hell my parents lived through in Poland during World War II. The point is that when your back is to the wall money-wise, you can do without a lot of the crap if you want to. People on welfare in this country still have their cable, color TV, while when I have met people in emerging nations who have never seen a TV before. True happiness probably doesn't cost all that much. You have to respect money and not spend it uselessly on stupid things. Get away from this notion of shopping as recreation. Shopping is a functional act done for the purpose of getting the supplies you need. It's not supposed to be a frivolous adventure to try to fill up your otherwise empty life. If you have to go shopping on a Saturday afternoon because you have got nothing better to do, get a real life, go out hiking, volunteer to help some handicapped kids or something. This brainwashing thing particularly applies to the cultural stereotype of what a woman is. The media sends out the frivolous message: lose weight, be skinny, buy makeup, go shopping, buy clothes. First off, every weight loss plan is a scam. It's all about attitude, but it's not just about saving money. It's about releasing yourself from that materialistic lifestyle and becoming a spiritual person living not just for yourself but to be a part of the world and do things with others in a good, positive way. If you're a Christian, then by definition you're supposed to be humble and care about the world. You're not concerned much with materialistic and frivolous things beyond functionality. Life has a deeper meaning. You should concern yourself with giving of yourself and giving what you have to your fellow man. The less you own, the more satisfied, happier and thankful you should be with what you do have. Be thankful for what you got. In my opinion, our society is lost because we try to develop big amusement parks and an enormous amount of trivial pursuits when happiness does not even remotely come from any of those things. It comes from developing your own character as a human being and doing meaningful things with your life. We use, we waste, and we always want more. We value our lives in terms of sensual pleasures. It's always me, taking, using, exploiting, drowning ourselves in our gluttonous little worlds of self-gratification when we don't realize that happiness is going the other way towards peace of mind and realizing that somebody somewhere is worse off than you and needs your help. I'm not saying be a hermit or a monk, but get real. Get some perspective back. Get back to nature to ease your mind and enjoy yourself. Nature has always been the healer. Instead of going to the mall next Saturday, go out to the country for a hike and a picnic. A simple life is the way it's supposed to be. Doing something for others every once in a while might just bring you greater pleasures than all those cheap thrills you have been conditioned to go for, like amusement parks and video games. Simple life ideas 10. Go easy on grooming services and products. Learn to clean with baking soda and vinegar. Don't hang around with people who spend money foolishly. The real poverty is poverty of the soul. Create your life yourself. Don't listen much to others or the system through the tube. Farmer Clem is a character I once knew, or rather a composite of several characters I knew, all from the old school, all from an era before the technology revolution and rural to urban shift, when they lived in remote shacks out in the country and there no Walmarts, internet shopping, or even much money for that matter, so they learned to do for themselves, often living a basic, primal, natural life close to nature, worshipping this close to the land lifestyle and being happy in it because they had not been brainwashed by the system the way it exists today, which has indoctrinated just about everybody to aspire to a lifestyle of getting a so-called successful career or starting a business, all in an effort to make a lot of money and be perceived by others as an elite, high-status being, while their kids are a bunch of brainwashed pop culture clones thinking there is nothing cooler to aspire to in life than to try to be a pop star who makes cool music videos with great-looking, synchronized dance moves. This is the definition of nirvana as presented by the corporate forces trying to suck the modern-day youth out of their money. My old buddies were old-timers whose heyday in their youth was before the hippie era of the 60s, even before the beatnik era of the 50s. They have a basic, solid way to them that I say is very rare in today's society. They are happy with so few material things and get a lot of joy simply sitting around tinkering with what most people would perceive as minor things around the house, working with their hands, working the land, doing simple recreational activities like walking in the woods, swimming, fishing, rowing a boat, etc. They got no interest in golf, tennis, or any of that fancy crap that's going around these days. They have something that goes beyond this, a basic, strong, solid appreciation and love of life for the spirit of it without getting bogged down in all this capitalist, pop culture stuff of the modern era. Anyway, the following is a summary of the wisdom Farmer Clem gave me through talking with him over several years. He was a deep-thinking, philosophical man with a staunch belief in God in his own way while concurrently being a hedonist, free spirit. He told me that poverty is more a spiritual matter than economic, even though modern-day society has got it backward. The real deal is to find your identity by living freely, then do what you believe in. The modern way is to go out into the world and either get a career or start a business as defined by the system, work your butt off, make some money, then try to enjoy it, but by that time, you will have lost your greatest years of vitality, your youth, and your mind, body and spirit will be polluted by the influences of the world on you, more than likely causing irreversible damage. In America and other capitalist countries, status is measured by money, and a lot of people play this game of trying to be middle to high status, even though for enlightened people, it's like laughing at the emperor with no clothes. Only the people sucked into playing this game by cultural brainwash are bound by it. I get my sense of identity within myself. I don't play society's game of status, and I have a laughing contempt for people that do so. That solves my problem of giving a damn what the flakes and fakes out there might think of me based on the neighborhood I live in, the car I drive, etc. I simply live in my own space with my own type of people. I don't give a damn about the narrow-minded, brainwashed people beyond this. I don't mind living in the low-class part of town as long as I feel safe there. I don't particularly care what people think of me because my reality is me in my head, not some judgment some asshole makes about me about what social class I'm in or belong to. You need common sense and knowledge to survive in the material world. Always watch your money. Respect it and treat it wisely. The way to win at life is to do what you want with your time. This does not mean working a dull job or running a dull business. You either count your pennies and penny pinch in order to live freely, or find something you really, really like to do that earns you a lump of cash. Live within your means. Save what you can. Even if you are materially poor, maintain a moral standard and personal dignity about yourself. This is what separates you from the ghetto low class who don't have the discipline to think about the future beyond what they can get for themselves by any means possible in the next few minutes. Be wary of who your true friends are. Anybody can dress up and be treated well by people who think you must have money and either want to sell you something or want a big tip, but the true test is when you are wearing ordinary duds. How do people treat you then? It's not about the clothes you wear as long as they're clean. It's about who you are on the inside. Simple Life Ideas 11. Saving money for me comes from two things. I was brought up in a Polish immigrant family with roots in agrarian Europe. We are practical, basic people. We don't waste stuff and we don't pursue frivolous ventures for entertainment much. My entertainment is swimming and messing around outdoors. I could never figure out what the appeal of movies, TV, professional sports, most pop music or computer games were. For me, it's all a bunch of meaningless crap. I get pleasure through other things, which is more intense than being a consumer, spectator, or a fan. The second reason why I don't spend much is that I'm anti-capitalist excess. I have a philosophy of being a man of few material needs. I even refuse to buy home decor because I think it's a bunch of meaningless crap. I replaced material goods with a craving for an aesthetic-inspired lifestyle. I live for action and mood in the moment over what I own. I think that the root of much of the problem in the world is that the haves live in over-excess while the have-nots are barely getting by, so I feel like a native Indian in this respect. Take what you need, not what you want, just need, and leave the rest. There are a few commandments or major rules of saving money as follows. The biggest way to save money is to downsize your house, your car, etc. Move into a smaller house or apartment. Buy a smaller car. Don't buy much furniture or extra stuff you don't need. Never borrow money, except to buy a house. The interest rates are horrendous. Debt is the result of a materialistic society. I did a personal study in observing all the advertising I'm exposed to in the course of just one day. It really hits you when you realize that everything on TV and the radio except for a few public stations is all paid for by dinky, little ads that aren't supposed to invade your soul, but they must because there's such big money involved. They wouldn't do them if they didn't work. Keep a credit card or two, but only for emergencies. Don't buy stuff to fill up some emptiness within you. Either learn a skill that's always in demand like nursing or teaching, work a part-time job, or start a part-time business over and above your day job so you always have an extra way to earn money if your real job fades out. Do not buy much over and above your real needs. A lot of buying is a product of two things. Capitalist brainwash, since we are being bombarded by ads all the time. Psychological emptiness. I live an inspired hedonistic lifestyle for experience. It doesn't cost much because I don't need anything. It's all about doing things that don't cost much because I'm close to nature and otherwise carnally basic. Always be aware of your money situation, how much you're taking in, how much you're earning through investments, how much your bills are and how much you generally spend. A lot of people don't know how much they earn or how much they spend. They just use their credit cards and don't think about it. Streamline your life. Don't buy useless, frivolous things. Throw away all your useless junk based on status, not function. Buy a smaller house, smaller car, etc. Live below your means. Save money. Eliminate capitalist habits. Rather than wasting money on pop culture entertainment, focus on yourself as an inspired, original individual. This should keep you busy for the rest of your life. Cut out your minor spending on overpriced things. Make your own coffee rather than paying a coffee shop for it. I used to go out drinking when I was younger than eating at restaurants. I've pretty well quit drinking now and don't eat at restaurants anymore because I'm more basic. I eat natural foods and I feel that restaurants waste my time, but I still remember blowing lots of money just going out once or twice a week. Find a bank with no fees. Find a credit card with no fees. Use it only in emergencies or for convenience. Pay all your bills off right away. Leasing a car is almost always a bad deal because it's expensive and you end up with nothing. Buy a used car, not a new car. If you don't need it or need it very sparingly, cut it off and go elsewhere for the few times you need it. Nobody needs a magazine subscription. You can go to the library for magazines. Personally, I use the internet maybe twice a week. I just keep it for the email, but I don't really need it much. I could go to the library, use the internet there and save $45 a month, or I could switch to a much cheaper dial-up service. No matter what else you do, work your butt off to get a permanent roof over your head. Buy a small, cheap house or a mobile home and pay it off so you never have to worry about being homeless, which could happen if you lose your job, get a divorce, get sick, etc. Buy all your stuff at the big discount stores like Walmart, which is even selling food now. Cars can be very expensive. If you live close to your work or school, you could walk, bike or take a bus, then once a week, either pay a cabbie or a friend to haul your groceries home. Some supermarkets even have a delivery service for $5 or free if you buy $100 worth of food. Used computers are very cheap in the computer section of your local buy and sell newspaper. See if you can convert a part of your house into a separate apartment to rent out. Don't splurge on a wedding. It's just a transient affair. Learn about taxes enough to maximize your deductions. Contest the assessment for your property taxes. If you run a business, hire your spouse and kids. Make a will and keep it updated in case you pass, so it will be easier for relatives to get the money without the tedious hassles of probate. If your employer has a matching contributions plan for a retirement plan, maximize your contribution to it. Be an investor, but don't always be looking for the big score. Invest conservatively and forget about it. Don't obsess over trying to hit the big score in the lottery. Buy a few tickets and forget about it. Even when you're feeling down and tired, don't spend money to try to bring yourself up. Just relax and get some rest. Beware of getting ripped off. I cover consumer protection in my shopping book. The best protection is to buy almost nothing, and whatever you buy it locally at an established store. I still don't trust the internet because I was the fool who sent my money to a few good-looking websites and learned the hard way that anyone can set up a website and rip you off, and what are you going to do if you live 1,000 miles away? To me, health is the greatest wealth. I focus on living a healthy lifestyle. It's cheaper and it's fun to feel vital all the time. If you need a loan, start an account with a credit union and get it through there. When interest rates go down by 2%, consider refinancing your home. Prepay your mortgage. Debt consolidation loans are usually a bad deal. That's why they advertise them heavily, because they make money. Read my travel book for travel discounts. Read a money book to learn about investing money. Books about frugal living and saving money at home are at number 332.024 and number 640.42 at the library. Learn about food at number 641. Simple Life Ideas 12. Don't hang around shopping malls. Don't color your hair. At some colleges, taking one course gives you a student card and access to the gym, library, student union building with low-priced food, recreation, etc. Don't buy expensive sunglasses. Don't buy souvenirs. If you don't need it, don't buy it. Kraft dinner and macaroni are cheap and they fill you up. Buy food at a local co-op if there's one around. Don't buy foods out of season, too expensive. Don't buy clothes meant to be dry cleaned. Do full loads of laundry. Use cold water. Washing clothes a lot wears them out. Let them hang for day. Wear them several times before you wash them. If the color from one piece of clothing bleeds into another, you can buy color remover sheets at the supermarket to remove the extra color. People steal clothes from laundry mats. Don't leave your clothes unattended. Find a hair cutting school in your area and go there to get your hair cut. Better still, cut it yourself. I cut my own hair because I can't be bothered wasting time going to a barber. Check all your utility bills for every charge. Eliminate the extra charges on services you don't need. The phone company where I live has a fancy convoluted term for renting the phone at $5 a month. It's worth maybe $50 at the most, but they charge some people $5 a month for rental for 20 years or more, then want the phone back once the account is closed. Buy most of your clothing at the thrift store and at yard sales. Sew and repair some clothes. Buy conservative dark clothes that never go out of style. The less you wash clothes, the longer they last. Dry cleaning, in my opinion, is a useless gimmick. I either hand wash or machine wash everything. Women can wear both men's and children's clothing, which are often cheaper. Buy winter clothing in the spring. Buy winter boots at an army surplus shop. Take a trip to the local surplus shop and look around. Stores like Walmart sell new clothes at reasonable prices. Stores like Walmart sell shoes. Payless sells reasonably priced shoes. Use your clothing dryer as little as possible. Live a non-materialistic lifestyle. Use computers free at the library. Don't buy things on impulse. Be aware of what you spend. Buy a cheaper, smaller, used car. Don't spend so much. Always check your bills for errors or fraud. Save your money and learn about investments. Find the best tax loopholes, like start a home business or invest in real estate. Instead of a single unit house, buy a duplex and rent out a unit. Don't take a casual approach to money. Stay on it all the time. Save all your extra money. Don't spend it foolishly. Figure out your mortgage and credit payments to see how much interest it costs, then get rid of all those bills by paying them quickly and try to get a better mortgage that allows you to pay it off quicker and allows you to pay extra towards the balance. Sell your own house rather than get a realtor to do it for a 6% cut. There should be a for sale by owner website in your area where you can advertise your home. Keep your financial records in one central place, organized so you know what's going on and don't miss bills. Those loan broker ads in the newspaper that want a fee to help you find a loan are scams. They will take your upfront money then not find you a loan. Get a will to avoid the hassles of probate later. Don't co-sign loans unless you intend to pay them off. No more credit cards. It costs extra to use operator assistance on the Heim phone. If you're not too vain, you can cut your own hair. Generic cosmetics are the same quality as the other stuff. When it's hot outside, close the curtains in the windows facing the sun to keep cool. When it's cold out, let the sun in. Use small appliances to cook rather than the big stove. If you fill your freezer with jugs of water, the frozen water will help keep it colder at less cost. Drop a few bricks in the back of the toilet to displace some water, thereby using less for every flush. Fix leaky faucets. Give all your meaningless material things away. Use your entertainment downtime to do things for yourself. to entertain yourself via your fertile mind rather than vegetate in front of the TV all day long. Go back to basics like wood heat over oil or a manual can opener over an electric one. Dry cleaners generally only pay about 8 times the cost of dry cleaning for a damaged or lost piece of clothing regardless of its real value. Don't use financial advisors. Teach yourself and invest your own money. When somebody's dead, they're dead. Be wary of slick funeral home operators. Go as cheaply as possible. In order to avoid losing your pet, get a microchip embedded into it so the local animal shelter will find it when they x-ray the animal and know it belongs to you. The amount of money you spend has very little to do with true, personal happiness. Manual labor in the outdoors is its own reward for the health and spiritual benefit. Try cutting your own firewood or growing your own garden. Don't spend so much. Always check your bills for errors or fraud. Save your money and learn about investments. Find the best tax loopholes like start a home business or invest in real estate. Instead of a single unit house, buy a duplex and rent out a unit. Stop shopping except for real needs. The amount of money you spend has very little to do with true, personal happiness. Gradually wean yourself away from a full-time job to do for yourself, possibly run a part-time business and enjoy your life more. Your work should be something you really love to do. Learn to appreciate the simple things like going camping over a trip to Vegas. Get away from noise, traffic, and pollution. If you don't garden, at least take a drive out to the country. Buy used, bargains, at yard sales, from ads, in newspapers, do without, do with less. Keep a level head during the holidays. Don't confuse the price tags of gifts with your declaration of conditional love. Buy a used camper or a tent and go to the state and national parks. Cut out all additional phone services except for basic service. Don't get a cellular phone unless you're a big shot and need one. Use credit cards during the grace period, then pay them off interest-free. If you get a cold, don't use anything more than aspirin and a generic nasal spray. If you can't get to sleep, use warm milk rather than sleeping pills. Simple Life Ideas 13. Don't buy appliance service contracts. You have a guarantee anyway. Write to your congressman for a free calendar. Baking soda and ordinary salt make good toothpaste. Call movers and ask if they have got any unclaimed furniture for sale. Ask appliance repair shops if they have got any unclaimed appliances for sale. Ask laundromats and dry cleaners if they have got unclaimed clothing for sale. Call around to the local churches and ask when they have their church fairs and bazaars. Why not trade your car in for a smaller car, drive less, carpool, consider walking and even biking around for your short errands. If you own 2 cars, get rid of one. Use a bike or walk for small errands. When buying a car, it's not the age that counts. It's the condition of it. Foreign cars often last a long time. Call around to large apartments and college dorms and ask to speak to the maintenance person. Ask if he's got some discarded furniture he might like to sell. Don't be afraid to buy furniture that needs minor repair. You can probably get it for cheap. With the solvents available today, you can easily strip a piece of old furniture down and paint it with clear varnish or light stain. For music, either buy a stereo at a thrift shop or a boombox at a large store, then record your own music off the radio. You can buy used car stereos at flea markets and thrift shops, but the thing is you don't know if you're buying a dud. A good low-cost vacation idea is the many Christian summer camps and retreats out there. The YMCA and the Salvation Army have them both for children and adults. Camping is the best inexpensive camping deal overall. If you go to Florida, the cheapest place is the Panhandle up north near Panama City. Cut your family's hair. Paint is paint. Buy the cheap stuff rather than the expensive stuff. Save your paint brushes and rollers by cleaning them immediately after and soaking them in gasoline. You can save your roller pan by putting a few sheets of tin foil in it before using it. Those in-bowl toilet bowl cleaners look cute with all the blue dye, but they're useless. Write a good letter instead of that expensive long-distance call. Use half the amount of shampoo, toothpaste, detergent, etc. You don't need shaving cream. Just splash water on your face when you shave. You don't need deodorants. Take a good shower with soap instead. Shop at off times like just before closing or during the afternoon on a slow day, then haggle. Use the comics from the newspaper as gift wrap. Make your own personal greeting cards. Use cutouts from magazines, dried flowers, your own artwork and personal messages. Consider home birthing for your baby without doctors. Instead of store-bought birth and wedding announcements, make your own by hand or make them on your computer and use a color copier. Make a jungle gym out of old tires and wood. Go to a wood shop and ask for the bit pieces and give them to your kids to play with. Time is the greatest gift you can give anybody. I heard that many boat owners abandon their boats. Go to a boatyard and ask if there are any abandoned boats that you can take away. Consider buying an old boat to live in. If you have to rent a storage facility to store extra stuff, you have got too much stuff. If you're a two-income family, some people have found that what they pay out in extra bills for gas, daycare, taxes, etc. makes it wiser for the wife to quit the job and focus on doing things to save money instead. Use the least possible in everything. For example, when washing dishes, use half a sink of water and only 1 squirt of washing liquid. Instead of spending for amusement, go to the free places like parks, museums, gardens, the lake, forest, etc. If you need wood for anything, even firewood, try calling your local industrial arts schools and ask what they do with scrap wood. Buy a nickel-cadmium battery charger. Bearing that, store batteries in the fridge to make them last longer. Children are hard on everything. Don't waste money on new furniture, etc. for them. Buy used things like beds, chairs, etc. Wash and reuse foil wrap. Save junk mail reply envelopes for filing recipes, receipts, etc. Trade things you don't want with friends, neighbors, relatives. Tie soap remnants in a piece of nylon net and use as a body sponge. Crumpled up used aluminum foil is ideal for scouring pots and pans. Paper towels are expensive. Use washable cloth dish towels instead. Don't throw away anything. Save everything for a future garage sale. Attend movies early when prices are generally lower. Don't buy expensive gifts. Give exotic home-grown plants or bake a cake. Give yourself a home permanent instead of paying top prices at a salon. Consider cutting your family's hair yourself. Use plastic bread wrappers and produce bags for freezer use. Use washable cloth handkerchiefs instead of expensive facial tissues. Organize a babysitting club with friends and neighbors. Take turns. Think in terms of doing it yourself rather than hiring someone to do it, such as home repairs, painting, garden work, cutting the lawn, etc. Swap services with friends and neighbors who can do things you can't. Take advantage of free recreation, such as picnic areas, libraries, public tennis courts, swimming areas, parks, zoos, etc. If you're not going out to shop, leave your credit cards at home. Learn about the many bargains at no-frills discount stores. Avoid spending on throwaway items such as disposable razors, flashlights, pens, toothbrushes, paper cups and plates, diapers, cigarette lighters, etc. For parties, use reusable plates, cups, glasses, utensils, napkins instead of expensive paper and plastic disposables. Pay credit card charges when they become due so interest isn't added. Start your children earning money at an early age. When buying insurance, pay the premium annually. It's less expensive in the long run than paying monthly, quarterly, or even semi-annually. Check all monthly bills closely, including your bank balance. Big companies can and do make mistakes. Examine your check at restaurants to make sure no error has been made. Learn about auto upkeep and how to do minor repairs yourself. Don't look for a new apartment until after the peak renting season is over. Instead of buying house plants, get cuttings from friends. Shop at discount and variety stores for biggest savings on cosmetics. Dilute your shampoo with small amount of water, for easier rinsing. If you're a poor senior, the Older Americans Act has many programs like free lunches, respite care, home repair, etc. Call Eldercare Locator at 800-677-1116 for more information. Take advantage of every kind of plan an employer offers. Join a professional organization to take advantage of member discounts with airlines, hotels, etc. Go to Scottsboro, Alabama, look up the unclaimed baggage store in the phone book and go visit this huge clearance store of lost airline luggage. Take an auto repair night course to learn to do the basics on your own car. Install a low-flow faucet aerator to reduce water flow, thus saving on your water bill. If you make a lot of long-distance phone calls, you can do it free with the right equipment on your computer. You talk into a microphone and the sound carries around the world instantly. You can get free admission to events by volunteering to help out. There are now cellular phone headpiece gadgets that you can use in your car without needing any hands. If you see famous name brand products selling at cheap discount stores for low prices, they're probably counterfeit knockoffs. For quality, buy a vacuum cleaner with a high amp output. 12 is good. When buying a washing machine, the more expensive ones with lots of features are not much better than the regular ones. In case you get locked out of your car, hide a spare key in a magnetic metal container near your bumper or write the master key number down and you can get a replacement easily from either a locksmith or a car dealer. WD-40 sprayed on the wet parts of an engine should get it going again. When you see gift items on sale, buy them and use them later. Motor oil doesn't wear out. Get old motor oil from a gas station or from your car, mix it around, let it sit for 10 minutes, then pour into another container, leaving the old sludge and sediment in the bottom of the first container. Incense, spray or dab a bit of perfume or air freshener on a hot light bulb. Whenever you move, keep your phone book for reference in case you have to phone someone in your old town. Instead of using plastic wraps and tin foil, buy some good lid top containers. Instead of buying baby oil, save money by buying white mineral oil. Use your old phone book for napkins to pick up spills and clean windows, etc. Vinegar absorbs all manner of odors. Buy a good shortwave or ham radio for cheap entertainment. Some stations teach languages over the air. They will send the workbook materials free. Correspondence courses are generally a good deal for the money. Instead of cable TV, call your local satellite shops or check the ads for an old satellite dish that you should be able to buy cheap. New technology replaces the old, which are still good but no one wants them. Same goes for computers. If you get cable TV, buy your own converter and wait for a special on installation. If your doctor gives you a prescription, ask for free samples. Doctors get a lot from the drug companies. They don't know what to do with them. Suntan lotions are a big waste of money. Unless you need a high SPF product, most are useless to protect you from the sun. Corn oil will do the trick for a lot less money. Renew car batteries by putting a mixture of Epsom salts and water into the cells. Metal polish, use blackboard chalk on damp cloth. Silver polish, baking soda and damp cloth. If you want to save a lot of money on silver polishes, use the electrolytic method. Mix some salt and baking soda into a pot of hot water. Put a piece of aluminum foil and the silver in it. The foil chemically absorbs the tarnish from the silver. When showering, turn the water off while you soap and lather. To avoid ants at your picnic table, put each leg in a cut-up milk jug, each filled with water. Use hairspray on flies. It freezes their wings. Lawn fertilizer, 1 cup Epsom salts, 1 cup household ammonia mixed together, then use 1 tablespoon per gallon of water. Look in the ads of your local newspaper and or bulletin boards at supermarkets, etc. For low-cost furniture, etc. Make your own nasal drops with warm water and salt in an eyedropper. Instead of grass on your lawn, try a vegetable or herb garden. Get a book on edible weeds, number 640 at the library and start picking them and using them in foods. Open curtains during the winter to let sunlight, thereby heat in. Close them during the summer to help keep things cool. The freezer works more efficiently when full because the frozen food gives off coldness, so keep it full. Get rid of dog fleas by mixing garlic and yeast with his food. Wash his coat with vinegar. Cheap dog collar, belt bought at flea market cut down to size. Instead of buying expensive computer cleaning solution, buy a bottle of vodka and some Q-tips. Anybody that hires a so-called interior decorator is either rich or an idiot. Don't get taken by the phony magazine spreads marveling at the newest trends in home decor. Simple things are just as fine as expensive things. Any old stupid pictures are fine, family pictures are better. Just check out the flea markets and thrift shops until you find a few nice looking things and you're in business. After all, it's your home, who are you trying to impress anyway? Ask the supermarkets or a private winemaker for the discarded wooden boxes which grapes are shipped in. Make furniture out of it and paint it with varnish. If you're in a pinch, concrete blocks and plywood make good beds and tables, wooden and cardboard boxes make good end tables and chairs. Hot water bottles are good under the pillow for those cold nights. You don't need to buy expensive cleaning solutions. Ammonia, baking soda, bleach, and vinegar can do most of the work. Before washing dirty sheets and linens, turn them around and use them for a while. Ways to save water are to take sponge baths, wet yourself in the shower, shut it off, wash yourself then rinse, put a 5-gallon bucket in the shower to catch the water and then use it to flush the toilet or get a bypass from your sink and shower drainage system to simply run outside and water your lawn. Soapy water won't hurt the plants. Pour the water from the sink into a pan, wash then use the water to water the plants.